A woman was terrified to discover that at every different station she arrived at, she would always see the same old lady. Even when the train was speeding along, this old lady would keep appearing outside the window. It seemed as if the old lady was trying to warn her about something, but Amy couldn't make it out. She took a few steps forward, and the old lady immediately stepped back a little. Amy told her to stand still and wait for her, but every time she tried to get closer, the old lady would instantly move further back. And she always kept just far enough away that Amy couldn't see her clearly or hear what she was saying. Amy started to get annoyed, thinking the old lady must be messing with her, so she turned and walked away without looking back. But after walking for a few minutes, she turned around and realized the old lady seemed to be following her. No matter how fast Amy ran, this speedy old lady could catch up with her in no time. Just as Amy was at a loss for what to do, just then, a woman who was hiking happened to pass by. Amy felt like she had seen her savior, and quickly asked her for help, begging her to go and see if the old lady in the distance needed any assistance. After all, it was really unsafe for an elderly person to be alone in such a remote mountain area. The woman was kind-hearted and agreed without hesitation. Soon, she walked over to the old lady, but strangely, after the old lady said a few words to her, the woman suddenly looked at Amy in terror, then started screaming and ran away frantically. Amy was terrified by what she saw. She hurriedly fled at top speed, running toward the nearby town. When she looked back, the old lady was still following her. In a panic, she quickly ducked into a hotel ahead, surrounded by a room full of people. She finally felt a sense of safety, so she immediately poured out her story to everyone. She explained that she was being followed by a strange old lady, and asked if anyone in town recognized her. The hotel owner took a look and said that the old lady was a new face, but since she seemed quite old, she probably didn't mean Amy any harm. As he spoke, he warmly invited her to come inside and have a seat, suggesting that any misunderstanding could be cleared up face to face. However, when the owner stepped outside, a scene similar to what had just happened occurred again. After listening to what the old lady said, the owner looked at Amy in terror, then ran away as if he had gone mad. This gave Amy quite a fright, and she immediately decided to stay at the tavern for the night and not leave. But after a whole night, the old lady was still standing at the door and hadn't left. In a fit of anger, Amy directly booked another 7 days. She wanted to see just how long the old lady could hold out. But by the 5th day, the landlady wanted to kick her out, because with Amy there, the old lady kept standing at the door, which seriously affected business. Moreover, after the owner spoke to the old lady that day, he seemed to have vanished into thin air and never came back. Helpless, Amy had no choice but to sit and wait. After returning home, she told her mother about the old lady. This strange old woman had already seriously affected her life. Her mother suddenly had a clever idea for driving the old lady away. The two of them just needed to stay on a phone call, and when her mother got close, she could play the old lady's words for her to hear. And as her loving mother, no matter what the old lady said, she would never be able to capture her. As she spoke, her mother walked straight toward the old lady. But as she got closer and closer, Amy noticed that the phone signal was getting weaker and weaker, and she couldn't hear the voices of the old lady or her mother at all. She realized something was very wrong. She hurriedly shouted for her mother to come back, but it was already too late. Her mother looked at her in terror, then ran away as if she had gone mad. Amy chased her for 8 blocks before finally catching up, but by then her mother had already gotten into a taxi, glaring at her daughter with extreme disgust, and left the town without looking back. From that moment on, her mother seemed to have vanished into thin air no matter what Amy did. She couldn't find her. Amy realized that the old lady seemed to possess some kind of terrifying supernatural power, so she went to the Bureau of Paranormal Affairs, hoping they could help solve the problem. The woman was very professional. After understanding the situation, she immediately arranged for an ultra-high definition camera to take a picture of the old lady. But when they looked at the photo, both of them were stunned. No matter how close they got, the image of the old lady always appeared as a blur. However, after some calculations, they determined that the distance between the old lady and Amy was consistently maintained at 73 yards, or 66.7 meters, which is the perfect distance where you can't quite see clearly with the naked eye and can't quite hear anything either, a golden distance. It seemed that the only way to deal with this mysterious old lady was to deploy their most elite armed forces. Amy was a bit worried that even the armed forces might get captured as well. The woman calmly replied, "We have psychic training, telepathic dampers, mesmeric shielding, and silver necklaces, in case of witchcraft, so with all this, it should definitely work, right?" As she spoke, she gave the order, and within moments, hundreds of special forces soldiers swarmed out, surrounding the old lady. The woman reminded them not to speak to the old lady under any circumstances, just capture her directly. But suddenly, all the soldiers froze in place. After hearing what the old lady said, they all stared straight at Amy. Even the woman wearing headphones suddenly looked grim, turned to look at Amy, and immediately ordered a retreat. She left without looking back, and no matter how much Amy shouted, it was useless. This experience left Amy in utter despair. Since she couldn't get rid of the old lady, she decided she might as well try to accept her from a different perspective. After all, the old lady wouldn't actually harm her directly. So Amy pretended not to see the old lady and went about her own life. In this way, the two of them coexisted harmoniously, day after day. But one day, while Amy was having a meal with friends, she suddenly realized the reason for the old lady's presence. She saw a familiar face. The man on TV was running for president. His name was Old T, and he was a doctor from the future. He had once told her that this Old T would be elected president in 2025. And 2 years later, he would start a nuclear war that would destroy the world. But when she thought of this, Amy almost burst out laughing. She immediately ended her date with her friends, saying she had something more important to take care of. Of course, she didn't forget to call the mysterious old lady to go with her.
Kill Mom. We've got work to do.
Amy went to Old T's campaign office and said she was willing to volunteer for free-serving tea, mopping the floor, whatever was needed. Who wouldn't want a free workhorse? In no time, Amy smoothly joined Old T's team. Just as she expected, Old T's approval ratings kept climbing, making him the most likely candidate to become president. Finally, the last stage of the campaign arrived, and Old T's speech was to be held in this stadium. As a member of the logistics team, Amy also came to the venue. Soon, the rehearsal for Old T's speech began, and Amy stood up, saying she wanted to go to the restroom. But instead, she turned around, climbed over the barrier, and walked onto the lawn. The staff told her to stop approaching, but Amy paid no attention and simply took out her phone to take a picture of Old T, while simultaneously turning on a rangefinder. The surrounding SWAT officers also warned her not to do anything reckless and to stop immediately, but Amy still ignored them, keeping her eyes fixed on the distance displayed on the screen. Only when the distance between her and Old T reached 73 yards did she finally stop, satisfied. Sure enough, in the blink of an eye, the old lady appeared next to Old Tay. After a flurry of gestures and words from the old lady, Old Tay looked at Amy as if she had lost her soul, then suddenly turned and ran away at full speed. Not even 200 SWAT officers could keep up with her. At lightning speed, Old Tay announced to the reporters that she would be withdrawing from the presidential race indefinitely and permanently, and that no one should bother her anymore. With that, she disappeared from the public eye and was never seen in public again. In this way, Amy used her high intelligence and the old lady's superpowers to successfully save the Earth. In the blink of an eye, 40 years passed. Amy had become a white-haired old lady, her life nearing its end, yet no one knew that she had once saved the world. However, just as she was about to pass away, she was shocked to discover that the mysterious old lady had actually broken through the 73-yard limit and was slowly approaching her step by step. At the very moment the mysterious old lady was about to turn her head, Amy quickly recalled the events of the past decades. In the next instant, she found herself in a barren wasteland. Looking ahead, she saw that the woman in the distance was actually her younger self. Only then did Amy realize that the mysterious old lady she had been seeing all along was her future self. And now, she had gained a superpower that could make people disappear. So she began gesturing repeatedly toward Amy, trying hard to get her attention, because only in this way could they work together to complete the cycle of saving the world.